guys. Miss Nancy's going to read page 159. Many of you do so much better when you listen and look, but somebody else is reading aloud. When you have to decode, which is figuring out the words and reading, when you have to do that yourselves, it takes up a big portion of your brain, and that's also your memory. So when Miss Nancy reads, you can use all that energy and brain matter to just listen and make sense of our article. So page 159 of our book, Plastic Swirls in the Pacific. I want to start by saying, please look at that map. The black part is all ocean, and the middle of it, like the eye of the storm, is what we're going to read about. The plastic, disgusting part is called the North Pacific Gyre. That's pronounced Gyre. And it's around Alaska, which is part of the United States. Japan, obviously, is not. Hawaii, which is part of the United States. Mainland USA, and that part of it would be California and Washington State. And then above us, Canada. So it has 3 separate countries, and as you can see, the United States has quite a bit of those countries, but we're not taking responsibility for the plastic swirl in the Pacific. Plastics became popular in the 1950s. Since then, a lot of plastic trash has gone into the ocean. In 1997, a sailor sailed through a remote part of the Pacific Ocean and found it covered with trash. At the time, he said the plastic covered an area the size of Texas, which is the largest state in our union. Now, it has grown to the size of Australia, an entire continent. The area lies about 1,000 miles west of the U.S. mainland, 1,000 miles north of Hawaii. It is called the North Pacific Gyre. Now, it also has unflattering names like the garbage patch and the plastic soup. It forms the largest mass of trash on Earth. It stretches thousands of miles and is 100 feet deep. A sailor named Charles Moore discovered it. On his return from Hawaii to California, he sailed through the North Pacific Gyre. Sailors rarely go there because for hundreds of miles there's no wind and the ocean surface is smooth. It took him a week to cross it, and trash surrounded him the entire time. 4 Pacific currents bring the trash to that spot. The currents move in a clockwise pattern near Japan. They move up toward Alaska, down along North America, and south of Hawaii. The currents push 2 masses of water together, and where they meet, the water circulates and sinks. It's why the area is called a gyre. Water swirls like water in a toilet that will not flush, and anything that floats stays on the surface. So that's what a gyre is, just water that goes around and around and around. 4 Pacific currents bring the trash to that spot. They move in a clockwise pattern near Japan, up toward Alaska, down along North America, and south of Hawaii. The currents push, I already told you that. Paragraph 5, researchers have found all kinds of plastic things there. They find many plastic bags, bottles, containers. Large numbers of unusual things are floating there too, like umbrella handles, huge fishing nets, toolboxes, and orange traffic cones. Under normal circumstances, the things that float are alive. So if we went out in a different part of the ocean, what would be on top would be, live microbiotic items that are necessary and good for the world, but that's not what's floating here. The small animals' life that other creatures feed on makes the Jair a fine hunting ground for seabirds. However, researchers have found almost none of these small floating animals because they're smart enough, they're not going in that plastic pollution. Paragraph 7. Birds and fish mistake plastic for food. Experts estimate that it kills more than 1 million seabirds and 100,000 marine mammals every year. When a researcher lays open dead seabirds, they open them up in the Pacific, they found cigarette lighters, bottle caps, toothbrushes in their stomachs. Most of what floats in the Jair is plastic. About 1/5 of it comes from ships and oil platforms. That means people are just dumping when they're on cruises, etc., off a ship, and oil platforms, people that work on them, dumping. The rest comes from land, where it goes from storm drains into the streams and then into the ocean. So 1/5 comes from the ships, but 4/5, which I hope all of you know is 8/10, which equals 80% of it, is coming from all of us at home letting crap just go down the drain. The water circulating motion, that round and round and round, finally pulls the trash from the coast of Asia, North America, into this plastic soup. Paragraph 9. The trash in the Jair does not form a solid mass. Much of it floats, but even more hangs, suspended in the water. Sunlight makes plastic brittle, so then it breaks into tiny pieces and even into a plastic dust. Researchers from the United Nations estimate that there are 1 million pieces of plastic per square mile. Most of them are only a few millimeters across. About 90% of all trash floating in the ocean is plastic. Cleaning up the Jair will be nearly impossible. It lies in international waters, so no single country will clean it up. No country will take the responsibility and say, this is our water area. Nope, they say it's international. And so it remains a dump. For now, people must handle plastic objects more responsibly. People can use less plastic packaging, recycle more plastic, and dispose of it properly so that it never reaches the ocean. And that's the end of that. And the three things you should take from this is what a Jair is, which is that swirly, swirly motion, so it pulls things in, and how much plastic is out there. And I think the third thing is the reason. Why is it not getting cleaned up? Well, the United States is saying, hey, Canada, you do your part. Hey, Russia, you do your part. Russia's saying, hey, Japan, you do your part. Nobody's taking responsibility. Okay, guys, I'll talk to you soon.